the release in the golf swing. I've had multiple questions about it and thought I would do some clarifications here. There's quite a few different varieties of release in the golf swing, and they just have to be matched up to the type of golf swing that you use. For example, we just had a winner last week on the PGA Tour. He's won quite a few golf tournaments, Phil Mickelson. Now his golf swing, it's a little different. It's really long, it gets really narrow, it gets really steep coming down. So it would look something like this. It's long, it gets narrow, steep coming down, the face is wide open coming down, and then there's a lot of rotation of the face through the ball. Now Phil has some of the best hands in the history of golf, so he makes it work for him. He tends to be pretty wild off the tee. I would say that those go hand in hand, his release pattern and his wildness. Other players out there have a much more stable release. They tend to hit the ball a lot straighter. A lot of ways to do it in this game. Now, most of us are not Phil Mickelson. Most of us don't have the time to practice like Phil Mickelson and don't have his God-given gift of great hands. Without those hands, Phil's golf swing does not look like a tour player. Yet he's one of the greatest ever. What do most tour players do, and what do most really good players do through the golf ball? So here are some examples of the top players in the world and how they release the golf club. Look how stable Justin Rose is through the golf ball. And Brooks Koepka is going to be about the same. Face is going to stay square to the arc. And then Dustin Johnson also gets square to the arc early and stays square to the arc through the golf ball. Justin Thomas, he runs out of right arm a little sooner, but he's square for the first 2 feet. Now you've got Jon Rahm, also very square through it. Xander Schauffele, Ricky Fowler, Rory McIlroy, a lot of right arm bend at impact, square through the arc. Molinari, this camera's not very good, but Jason Day, he runs out of right arm a little sooner than some and has a little more of a roll release. Tony Finau has a lot of right arm there and square for a long time. Tiger, interesting release, hands go really left. Here we have Tommy Fleetwood, he's got a real stable release. Patrick Reed has a real roll, but a weak grip. Bubba, a lot of people think he really rolls it, but look how square that stays, long through the shot. Now here's Mickelson. You can see how steep it gets coming down, how open that face is, and then how rolled it is. See how that face is turned? And here's another example, very similar to Mickelson. And Paul Casey, Matt Kuchar's square through the ball, and then it really rolls over hard a couple feet after. Let's talk about what I like to see the club face doing. Now for me, the perfect release pattern would be one where, as I'm swinging the club down, the club face gets square to the arc I'm swinging on, somewhere in this point in my swing. And it stays square to the arc I'm swinging on until I run out of right hand, okay? So from here to where I run out of right arm, that club face is doing very little. Now if we run out of right arm too soon, we're going to start to see the club face either rotating over this way too soon or the club flipping this way too soon. Now let's talk about what your arms are actually doing as you release. Depending on your grip, so if my grip is weak to neutral, there's going to be quite a lot of what's called supination of the left arm in order to get that club face to come down and stay square to the arc. So if I have a weak to neutral grip, I'm going to need a lot of rotation. Now that made that square to the arc, but that took quite a lot of rotation of my left arm. Whether it be upper arm or forearm, there's got to be some rotation. I need supination to square the face. If my grip is really strong, like a Zach Johnson, I need less. There's still probably going to be a little supination, a little rotation of the left forearm, but not very much. Now I don't want to get too deep into the biomechanics of how this works. I just want you to see what my preferences are for what the face is doing through the impact area. So I'm going to hit a shot here, And let's see if I can make it look like what we want. Well, that was pretty good. Hit it to about a foot. We want to make sure that that club face, when it comes down, it's getting square to the arc and it stays square through the hitting area. And then whatever it does as it goes through here, whether my arms kind of roll over or my right hand releases where it's more under, most of that will happen on its own. So if we can figure out how to get the tension levels low in our hands and arms, and we get our body's pivot working correctly, with good structure of our wrists coming down, most of what we want to have happen does it all by itself. So a lot of people are trying to hold these angles, maintain the lag, and then really throw the club through. You know, I just find that that's not really that necessary. I find that if we can get the structure correct, get the tension levels low, and get our body doing what it's supposed to do, the momentum of the club will catch up and fly by, and we'll maintain all the lag we need, and these angles will get rid of themselves. So you don't want to feel like you're holding on to anything. You don't want to feel like you're forcing the club to release. You just want to feel like your arms are relaxed and that club can really go. Now, there's some biomechanical reasons that thing will release itself, and part of it has to do with the path your hands will take. So because my body is turning, what's going to happen is if I keep turning, my hands are now going in a circle and my left hand's going to start going up. And when my hand path goes in a circular fashion, the club releases itself. You can see when I did that, if I make my hand go in a straight line, the club does nothing. The angles are retained. But if I make this go in a circle, the angles are released. So because my hands are going in a circle, due to the rotation of my body, angles get released. The momentum of the club just does the work for you. I would say focus more on getting the proper grip, structure of your arms, and getting your body to work correctly. The release will happen mainly on its own.